alienate the United States government by taking a public side against them.
Computer experts pulling information off the computers
And I also know when the public needs to know.
While the world still struggles to believe the revelations and allegations by the three witnesses at the recent U.S. Congress court hearing, the renowned whistleblower, Edward Snowden, has come out with even more shocking revelations about the U.S. government. These recent events only confirm just how far our governments are willing to go to keep certain happenings away from the public. More surprisingly, Snowden's revelations touch on governments and their unsuspecting citizens all over the world. What shocking revelations did Edward Snowden make? How do these things affect our lives and the world at large? Join us in this video as Edward Snowden reveals terrifying government secrets in a new chilling message. The concept of whistleblowing has been going on for a long time, especially in the United States. Time and again, we've seen employees come out to say things about their establishments, disturbing things that would make you see the organization in a bad light. This has affected government agencies too, as papers, documents, and all sorts of evidence are sometimes leaked by named or unnamed individuals to expose some secrets or prove a point. With the invention of the internet, whistleblowing became extremely easy. With just a click of a button, photos, videos, or audio files can be put online for the whole world to see. This is why we've seen a spike in information leaks and all forms of whistleblowing activities since the mid-1980s when the internet came to be. Much of the whistleblowing since that time has been centered on the U.S. government and its agencies like NASA, NSA, and CIA. However, as these online whistleblowers often choose to remain anonymous, for safety reasons, their claims are usually waved aside, even by the public. But once in a while, we get to see a few whistleblowers who are not afraid to show their faces and state the facts, damning the consequences. Edward Snowden is one such whistleblower. The young American IT expert has been the source of a lot of scandals, especially those involving the U.S. government. As you're aware, fingers have been pointing to the U.S. government after the Congress hearings of July 2023, when three witnesses made some shocking claims about the government's infamous habit of concealing information about aliens and UFOs from the public. These witnesses claimed that aliens are real and very much amongst us. One of them, David Grush, even mentioned how the government had been retrieving alien samples for decades for exploitation and reverse engineering. The Congress was a real eye-opener, and since then, several questions have been flying around. Many individuals who are usually skeptical of whistleblowers are now concerned that all the information leaks in the past decades could have actually been true. Snowden is one of the few notable Americans who have come out boldly with leaked information about the U.S. government. The American-born computer geek was once a computer intelligence consultant for the National Security Agency, NSA. Edward Snowden started leaking lots of classified information in 2013 while he was still in active service. In case you're wondering what inspired this young man to go down the path of exposing national secrets, it all boils down to ethics. You see, Snowden wasn't very much appreciative of some of the procedures and programs he was made to partake in. And when he tried to complain and show his ethical concerns through the proper channels, the bosses pretty much ignored him. This made the young man retire, albeit unofficially, to begin his life-threatening mission of exposing top-secret documents on the internet and to journalists. Although the role was dangerous, Snowden did it anyway, and surprisingly, many American citizens supported his actions. These people wanted to know what the government was up to, and Snowden told them just that. To prove how much Snowden's efforts meant to them, some individuals actually went out with placards that read, "Thank you, Snowden." But you see, Snowden's actions didn't just cause an uprising among U.S. citizens. They also caused political standoffs across other nations. In January 2014, Snowden caused a stir on the internet. The Washington Post had reported that the National Security Agency was working hard to create a quantum computer. The project was estimated to cost about $80 million. Snowden quickly came out to reveal the hidden things about the proposed invention. According to him, The supercomputer was kept inside a massive metal box, and it was all part of a top-secret program called Penetrating Hard Targets. Just so you know, this supercomputer had the power to break through any security protocols. It would be able to crack the toughest codes and encryptions at lightning speeds. Now, as at that time, nothing like this existed, so you can imagine how dangerously powerful such technology would be. What's scary about this is that Snowden revealed that this supercomputer would be able to break through RSA encryptions. RSA encryptions are special encryptions used to safeguard public data. They're used to encrypt data from emails and other online transactions. Even as of 2023, no computer can break through an RSA encryption. Experts say you'd need at least one superquantum computer with vast resources for you to achieve such a feat. But what if the NSA has already completed the project and begun the hacks without public notice? Well, unfortunately, Snowden is no longer available on the scene to reveal that information. One of Snowden's activities that really sparked controversies was his revelation of something called Project Dishfire. This is a secret global surveillance program run by both the NSA and the Government Communication Headquarters, GCHQ. The program collects hundreds of millions of text messages daily from phone users around the world without their notice. In response to Snowden's reports, an NSA spokesperson replied to the media that the Dishfire program only processes and stores lawfully collected data. However, not all members of the public were pleased with this, especially considering the fact that such a thing was never mentioned or heard of before then. Although the NSA claimed that such data weren't used for any shady activities, citizens just didn't feel comfortable having their private information stored in some agency database. In addition to all of this, it was also revealed that Verizon, one of America's leading wireless network operators, was mandated to hand over caller information of users every day. Aside from the actual voice notes, such information included the time, location, and duration of the calls. Citizens weren't happy about all of this surveillance, and the agency really tried hard to prove that all this was necessary for the general safety of the public. At the time, rumors were flying that the agency also shared all of this data with the British intelligence agency. Many considered this action an infringement on personal rights, something that is not just unethical, but also illegal. Some theorists even said that the NSA uses this information to pull facts about users' credit card details, as well as addresses and other personal information. It was a real hot water for the NSA, all because of one man, Edward Snowden. In another instance, Snowden revealed shocking details about how the NSA and GCHQ had hacked into a Dutch company that manufactures and supplies most of the world's SIM cards. The company makes about 2 billion SIM cards per year, delivering to telecommunication companies like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and so on. Snowden provided documents showing that this hack gave the NSA access to encryption keys for these SIM cards. This means they can now completely bypass any security measures from the telecommunication network providers and obtain both voice and data transmissions of SIM cards' owners. Surprisingly, the company replied, saying that they've been the object of 2 very sophisticated hack attempts that they believed were done by the NSA and GCHQ. However, the company denied that the hack was successful. Just so you know, the NSA is the United States intelligence agency under the Department of Defense. It is tasked with monitoring, collecting, and processing data for both domestic and foreign intel, as well as counterintelligence purposes. While the CIA specializes in human intelligence gathering, the NSA specializes in signals intelligence. The NSA didn't take Snowden's actions lightly. In fact, they were pretty much after him. However, Snowden had set up some smart contingency plans. During an interview, he revealed that he had already set up a system in place such that if anything ever happened to him, all the dirty secrets he had about the government would be leaked instantly. To put it simply, he had set up certain documents to be automatically transferred to higher-ranking whistleblowers who'd finish what he started. He disclosed that he had many, many more secrets to spill. Although there's no telling if these words are true, the fact that Snowden is still alive after being blacklisted by the NSA seems to prove something. Surely the US government has the technology to fish him out if they want to. Perhaps there's a lot that this man knows that the government would like to keep secret, so they don't want to risk harming him. Outside its laudable role in maintaining national security, it would seem the government agency was involved in quite a lot of other activities that are never mentioned publicly. It was these activities and programs that made Edward go rogue and launch his whistleblowing career. The NSA came under serious scrutiny again in 2013 when Snowden revealed that the agency had tapped into 35 phones belonging to high-ranking officials of different countries. Among these countries are Spain, Germany, and France. Snowden leaked the information in October 2013, and it led to a political standoff between the US and Germany. Thanks to Snowden's tip, Germany's Chancellor, Angela Merkel, found out her phone was bugged. She immediately called out the US government, condemning the act. Germany wasn't at war with the US at the time. In fact, you could say the two nations were friends. However, there is more to this story. It was also revealed that the NSA was monitoring the phone calls of regular folks, especially in Spain, where over 60 million phone calls were monitored in a single month. Brazil was also reported to be under serious watch by the NSA for some unknown reasons. The Brazilian president at the time had to schedule a one-on-one meeting with then-President Barack Obama to address the issue. But things heated up much later when it was revealed that Petrobras, Brazil's major oil company, was also under the United States surveillance. This broke the newly formed bond between Brazil and the US, as the president termed the NSA's actions an industrial espionage. China is another nation that almost got trapped in the web of Snowden's actions. Even while he was in Hong Kong, Edward Snowden was still accessing NSA systems, so much so that the US government wanted to call out China and accuse them of cyber attacks. However, just before the US government did that, Snowden revealed himself as the spy. He also mentioned that he had plans to remain in Hong Kong, at least till the government kicks him out. However, in a shocking twist, he revealed to a Chinese news agency that the NSA had been hacking the Chinese since 2009. He went further to say that the hack was specifically directed at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, which is the central hub of renowned scholars and researchers. The revelations were very disturbing, and Snowden had to leave China not long after. Edward Snowden, so far, is one of the few Americans known for their stand in revealing secrets within the government and its agencies. Although most of Edward's revelations don't sit right with leaders and some members of the public, some members of the public consider him a hero. However, Snowden isn't the only one known for exposing things the government would have preferred to bury. Another person who has entered the spotlight in this regard is Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar's revelations mainly center on aliens and UFOs. His story, which was first shared in the 1980s, remains one of the most referenced stories today about aliens and UFOs. Bob Lazar made pretty much disturbing and convincing claims at the time. This is why his story remains very much alive and kicking, despite the fact that it's been decades since he first showed up on the scene. Lazar made mention of the propulsion systems that alien aircraft used. According to him, UFOs have a gravity amplifier in their underside. This enables them to rotate at high speeds and make sharp angular turns with ease. It also helped them to conjure a powerful gravity vortex underneath it, which can then pull it at extremely high speeds. He also mentioned that UFOs can switch flight positions, flying belly first if they choose to. You'd admit that this doesn't really conform to the usual flying saucers we see in sci-fi movies that move like frisbees. Well, Lazar did mention that alien spacecraft can equally fly like that if they choose to. Some ufologists and supporters of Lazar's story have even claimed some UFOs may be able to shape-shift, hence why they take different forms. Another thing Lazar did mention that made his story quite believable is a strange element called Element 115. Bob Lazar believes that this is the element aliens use for their technology and propulsion system. He called it unpentium. At first, this didn't make any sense to the public, and even to the scientific community, because we only have 100 elements in the periodic table. However, later on, the scientific community was able to produce and even study this element, and it has long been added to the periodic table. Unpentium can only be artificially produced, and it is very heavy and very radioactive as an element. This element is what Bob Lazar claims the aliens use to fuel their aircraft. In addition, Bob Lazar described what the interior of UFOs look like. He explained that the body of most of these crafts was made with liquid titanium, and the parts were joined together in a strange way he couldn't explain. There were no bolts, nuts, seams, or anything that indicated joints in these vehicles. It was like the entire body was composed of one unit, something that shouldn't be possible. Later, Lazar even started suggesting the aliens may have used 3D printing to make their advanced tech. At the time, Lazar claimed that there were 9 captured UFOs at Area 51, and each of them had distinct designs. The shape ranged from a jello mold to a flat disc. Interestingly, Bob Lazar claimed that the Tic Tac UFO discussed by eyewitness David Fravor in the recent Congress hearing resembled one of the UFOs he worked on at Area 51. And so, there's a chance that the Tic Tac UFO Fravor encountered was the very one held at Area 51, according to Lazar. It's not clear if all these spacecraft, spotted in UFO sightings, are made by the same group of aliens. However, Bob Lazar did reveal that the UFOs he worked on came from one particular place in the cosmos, the Zeta Reticuli star system. The Zeta Reticuli star system is a wide star system located in the small, faint constellation called Reticulum. This star system consists of only 2 stars, and both stars have characteristics similar to that of the Sun. Funny enough, there was a story of 2 alien abductees, Barney and Betty Hill, in 1961, who claimed that the aliens who abducted them came from a place in space that had 2 stars. They drew the place, and it was a replica of the Zeta Reticuli star system. Could it be that these same aliens that have been abducting humans were the ones captured by the US government? And did Bob Lazar experiment on one of their aircraft? Well, it's very likely. Many pieces of Lazar's story are just too convincing. He once remarked on a tragic incident that happened when one of the scientists working on the alien craft tried to dissect a UFO reactor. The attempt was unsuccessful, and the man died in the process. Surely this is something anyone would expect, given the unpredictable nature of alien technology. Another thing that made Bob Lazar's story very convincing is the absence of his background records. Surely, everyone has an origin, right? Well, Bob Lazar has none. Ever since he showed up, none of Bob Lazar's claims about the schools he attended or his employment records have panned out. This fact has made some doubt his stories. However, there are a few people, including Bob Lazar himself, who feel that the government wiped his records clean. It's like what you see in the movies when a top-secret agent is recruited for a top-secret mission and made to disappear or given a new identity. What if the government did the same thing for Lazar and his colleagues at Area 51? In Lazar's case, many experts and conspiracy theorists believe the government did all that to discredit him as punishment for blowing the whistle. This wouldn't be the first time such things would happen. Even recent Congress witness David Grush mentioned how he had suffered both personal and career consequences as a result of his whistleblowing. Perhaps this is why many whistleblowers choose to remain anonymous. In the case of Snowden, he has received several threats for his actions. In fact, Snowden had to leave America and naturalize in Russia. His current location isn't known, at least not publicly. Rumors have it that his disturbing revelations have put him in the black books of the US government. Snowden is said to be living a life of exile ever since he fled Hong Kong, his last known location, in 2013. However, Snowden recently revealed during a 2023 interview that he still has no regrets about doing what he did. He even opened up that the capabilities of the government today are far worse compared to 2013 due to accelerating technology. Here's what he said. "We trusted the government not to screw us, but they did. We trusted tech companies not to take advantage of us, but they did. That is going to happen again, because that is the nature of power." Whistleblowing has always been taken for granted, but now, as some stories begin to pan out, and more evidence begins to surface from different sources, there's a lot to ponder regarding what is true and what isn't. From seemingly harmless secrets to things that may threaten our existence, a lot have been kept from public knowledge. Perhaps it's for the collective good of the public, perhaps not. Thank you for watching another episode of Voyager. While you are still here, Click the video on your screen to see more mind-blowing videos like this one.